You know, when we think of Mexico, we often picture ancient ruins, stunning beaches, but there's this other world, a hidden kingdom of incredible beauty that's often overlooked. Today, we're diving into that world, the amazing story of Mexican orchids. So let's just start with a number, and it's a big one. Over 1,300 different species of orchids call Mexico home. That is just a staggering amount. It makes Mexico a true mega biodiversity hotspot. It's like a massive evolutionary laboratory for one of the most fascinating plant families on the entire planet. But get this, and this is what really blows my mind. Nearly 40% of all those species, they're endemic. That means you can't find them anywhere else on Earth. They are uniquely, totally Mexican, born from this incredible mix of mountains, climates, and forests that you only find there. So, what's the secret sauce? I mean, why is Mexico such a perfect place for all this diversity to explode? Well, the answer lies way, way up in the mountains, in a very specific and very precious ecosystem, the cloud forest. And this is where it gets really fascinating. That single most important home for orchids, the tropical montane cloud forest, covers a shockingly small part of the country, just 1% of its total land. It's this tiny, misty world just kind of perched on these high elevation peaks. Okay, but now look at this comparison. That tiny 1% of land is home to an unbelievable 60% of all of Mexico's orchid species. I mean, talk about punching above your weight. This is exactly why these cloud forests are so incredibly important. They are the absolute heart of orchid life, and protecting them is priority number one. Now, if we really want to get the deep cultural roots of these plants, there's no better place to start than with the one orchid pretty much everyone knows, even if they don't realize it is an orchid: vanilla. Its story is the perfect window into Mexico's amazing biocultural heritage. This isn't some new thing. Vanilla's journey goes back centuries. Long before it was in your ice cream, the Totanic people in eastern Mexico were the first to cultivate it, way back around 1185, as a sacred plant. Then, by the 15th century, the Aztecs were demanding it as tribute. They famously used it to flavor their chocolate. And for hundreds of years, how to grow it remained a Mexican secret, right up until 1841, when the discovery of hand pollination just changed the game completely. So why was it such a secret? Well, it all came down to this biological bottleneck. For centuries, you couldn't produce vanilla anywhere else because it needs a very specific native bee to pollinate it. And to make things even harder, its delicate little flowers, they're only open for a single day. That's it. No bee on that one day means no vanilla. So fast forward to today. Thanks to that hand pollination technique, Mexico is still one of the top producers in the world. But its role is way more important than just numbers. Mexico's traditional vanilla farms are also protecting the wild relatives of the commercial plant. And those wild orchids, they hold all the genetic diversity we're going to need to create stronger vanilla crops that can survive a changing climate. But vanilla, as amazing as it is really just the beginning. The connection between Mexican culture and orchids runs so much deeper, weaving through medicine, art, and spiritual traditions for centuries and centuries. For instance, check out the Laelia orchids. They happen to bloom in late October and early November, which earned them the name Flor de Todos Santos, or Flower of All Saints. They've become a crucial part of the altars for Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead, where their beauty and their scent are believed to help guide the souls of loved ones back home. And the connection gets really practical, too. Indigenous and rural communities have identified at least 62 different orchid species with medicinal properties. I mean, look at this table. Different parts of the plants have been used for everything from dysentery and diabetes to snake bites. It's literally a living pharmacy, with knowledge passed down through generations. And here's a wild one for you. Pre-Hispanic artisans figured out how to create this incredibly powerful glue called tzacuhtli from orchid pseudobulbs. This stuff was essential for making the absolutely breathtaking feather mosaics that were famous all across the ancient Mesoamerican world. Imagine that. Okay, so we've seen all this beauty, all this deep history, but now we have to talk about the flip side. This rich biological and cultural legacy is facing a massive threat. The very things that make these orchids so rare and beautiful also make them incredibly fragile. This paradise is in peril. And the danger is really coming from two main directions. First, you've got the constant loss of habitat, especially those vital cloud forests, from deforestation and climate change. And second, there's a huge illegal trade that literally rips these wild plants from the forest to satisfy collectors. It's gotten so bad that at least 180 orchid species are now officially at risk. The economics behind this are, well, they're complicated and frankly tragic. In the formal market, a fancy cultivated orchid can sell for thousands. But in the illegal trade, the local people who gather the wild plants get paid almost nothing, while the ecological cost is just devastating and completely irreversible. And if you want to know just how bad this problem has gotten, listen to this quote from one of the reports. It says that over the last 25 years, illegal harvesting in some areas has been so intense that entire mountains have been stripped bare of their native orchids. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. Stripped bare. Now, it sounds pretty bleak, I know, but it's not the end of the story, not by a long shot. Across Mexico, there's a dedicated movement of scientists, communities, and conservationists fighting to protect this incredible natural heritage. They are the guardians of the orchids.
The strategy to save them isn't just one thing. It's a multifaceted approach that balances 4 key pillars. Having strong legal protections in place, doing the scientific research to understand these species, empowering local communities to be the stewards of their own resources, and promoting a sustainable culture of appreciation.
So on the legal front, one of the most important tools is a standard called NOM 059. You can basically think of it as the nation's official at-risk list. Getting a species onto this list is absolutely crucial because it provides the legal muscle needed to fight poaching and to protect its habitat. But laws on paper can only do so much. The real game changer? It's empowering local communities. When conservation projects and ecotourism are led by the community, the survival of the orchids gets directly tied to the economic health of the people who live right there. Protection becomes a livelihood. A living orchid becomes worth way more than a poached one. Which really brings us to the heart of it all and leaves us with this final question. How do we protect a national treasure that belongs to both the forest and the soul? Because Mexican orchids are more than just plants. They are a living thread connecting biodiversity, history, and identity. The challenge isn't just about saving a flower. It's about preserving a legacy that's woven into the very fabric of a nation.